Hi! You might be wondering how I got into this situation. Well, you see, after the last episode ended, I realized I need a lot more materials for the house. So naturally, I wanted to go gather more. But on my way there, I got a little bit distracted. First, by random rabbits, that somehow also learned how to sprint on water. Then I managed to get completely lost, completely forgetting where all the materials I need are. While trying to find the right place, I stumbled upon more ruins. Thanks to that, this wasn't at least a complete waste of time, since I found more bonus soil and some vases with actually decent loot. Nice. And finally, after all that, I found the blocks I needed. There was just one problem. My inventory was completely full. After getting rid of some stuff, I finally got to mining. And guess what? Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Yep, a temporal storm started. I tried to run and I did put up a decent fight, but in the end it was all useless. No. Ow. No. No. Damn it. So, now you know. You see, this all could have been avoided. Because when the story tells you when temporal storms are coming, you just need to not be blind. Like me. Now there is nothing left to do than getting up and running to get my stuff back. And praying I survived the road. Fortunately, on my way back, I outran most of the drifters, and before I even managed to get to my stuff, the temporal storm ended. Now it was finally peaceful again, and I could get back to gathering materials. I gathered more basalt rock, sand and gravel to craft the cobblestone from which I wanna build most of the base. When I got back home, I crafted said cobblestone and got to finishing the walls. After that, it was time for more important stuff. The tool molds were done firing, so it was time to put them to use. This time I didn't forget though. I started the firing process on more items before doing anything else. Mainly, I needed to fire the anvil mold. Now, to start working with metals, we need tongs, because we can't exactly grab something that's hotter than 1000 degrees with our bare hands. Luckily, crafting simple tongs is easy. We just need some rope that is simple to make, and some sticks. Nice! With the tongs ready, it was time to melt some copper. To do that, we are going to need to get the fire very, very hot. That is where charcoal comes in. And to save us some charcoal, I first use few pieces of peat to get the fire started, and only after that I start fueling with charcoal. When the copper finally melts, we just have to pour it into the molds. And wait. While waiting for the copper to cool down again, I decided to do some panning. After all, I found a lot of bonus soil. The calm panning didn't last long, since the drifters decided to pay me a visit again. I swear to God, come here. After the panning, I returned home and realized the problem. Where do I put all the stuff I got? I had zero storage space left, so I had to do some cleaning. I cleared out some space by cooking, and even after that, there was nothing left to do than go hunting for some fat. Fortunately, there was a pack of wolves close by. By the way, do not hunt like me. There are much better ways to go about this. After harvesting all the fat from the wolves, I could finally make more vessels and dump all the stuff in. And with the freshly cleared inventory, it was finally time to craft my first copper tools, copper pickaxe and prospecting pick. And before I managed to get distracted again, I immediately made few more torches, checked the map for the nearest copper finding and started running. When I got to one of the marked places, I started digging. Sometimes the ore vein can be pretty deep even with the surface samples. So I didn't expect to see anything for a while. Oh! Never mind. Well, time to mine it all. After mining all the visible ore, it was time for the prospecting pick. The prospecting pick has two modes, a short range one that shows you how much ore is close around you and helps you pinpoint its location. For example, if it reads a small amount in one place and you dig few blocks away in one direction, and then it reads tiny amount, you know you are going the wrong way. After repeating this process a few times, you can find the right direction to go to find the ore. The density mode works a bit differently. For this one, you have to mine 3 rocks within 16 blocks. After that, you get a percentage reading of each ore type that can be found in that area. This is very useful, since it shows how likely you are to find what ore in the area. So, I first tried my luck with the short range mode, and then switched to the density mode. Then I moved to another location I marked, and did the exact same thing. And the last location that was close by. After returning home, I wasn't done with mining just yet. It was time to make a sewer. For an easy access, I crafted some ladders. I wanted to craft a trapdoor as well, but I don't have the tools to do that just yet. I dug out a little space underneath the base, and that's about it, because the reoccurring problem showed up again. Storage space. To distract me from the lack of storage space, I checked on the little farm. The turnips were fully grown, but I still left them, because until I harvest them, they will remain fresh, and I want them to stay fresh until I need them. I also checked on a little fishing spot, and it was full of fish. Now, back to the important stuff. For the next step in our metalworking adventure, I needed a hammer, so it was back to panning.
But Merrick, didn't you just mine a ton of copper?
Yes I did, but those are copper chunks. They are too big to process, and to make them smaller, I need the hammer. You see the problem? Anyway, while panning for the few pieces of copper I need, I also found a copper spearhead, which is great. When I came back, I immediately crafted the handle, and then the whole spear. And I started melting the copper for the hammer. When it was done, I poured it into the mold. And like always, any good footage that I get has to be ruined by these guys. Anyway, while the hammer was cooling down, night came, and since my house doesn't have a roof yet, I decided to spend the night making few shingles. After the night passed, I laid them out in the pit, and then started taking them out again, after realizing I can only fire 48 in one go. I started the firing process a few times. Since the last batch of items I fired contained some vessels, it was finally time to harvest the turnips. Now, last time I explained how in Vintage Story, farmlands have 3 nutrients levels. When you grow something on that land, it consumes one of the nutrients that the plant needs. The nutrient then slowly comes back. Because of this, it's very important to rotate the crops you grow on that land. You consume one, then another, while the first one comes back. Well, I would have loved to do that here, but sadly all my seeds take the same nutrient. So this will have to do. I checked on the fish again, and again, a great catch. After gathering all that, it was finally time to make use of the sewer. To explain how important the sewer actually is, let's look at some examples. You can see that the fish that would normally expire in 1 day in my hand lasts for 5 days in the sewer. Same with the berries. They would last 3 days in my inventory or above ground, but in the sewer they last 12 days. So storing bigger amounts of food for a long time just became possible. And we will need exactly that when the winter comes. Around that time, the hammer was finally cool enough to use. And guess who showed up again?
Damn it.
Now I can use the hammer to break down the copper chunks into small nuggets. And with all that copper at my disposal, it was time to smelt. The next most important thing to make to continue our metalworking journey is an anvil that takes a crazy 900 units of copper. And the rest I use for more equipment. Spare pickaxe, prospecting pick, hammer, axe head, shovel head, and flax head. With all this new equipment, I also made a tool rack to put all the new tools in. And I swear to God, I hate you so much! Excuse me, I'm just going to quickly plug this cave. Oh no, that doesn't sound good. Yeah, I forgot about the fact that drifters can spawn in the dark. Fortunately, there is an easy solution. Drifters can only spawn on unoccupied blocks, So putting small rocks everywhere will do the trick until we have permanent light source. I also moved all the baskets from the dirt square I called home into here. It looks like everything is done cooling down. Let's ignore the fact that it still shows about 200 degrees. Anybody can hold that, right? Right? I placed the anvil, broke my door, finished crafting all the tools, made one more tool rack, and started smelting the last bits of copper I had, because I forgot one thing. I actually need a copper ingot. While the ingot was cooling down, I crafted some cobblestone, and from the cobblestone, a forge. I placed it right next to the anvil, filled it with coal, put the ingot in, and waited for it to get hot again. When it was hot enough, I moved it onto the anvil to finally start smithing. The first item on the list was a saw blade. The saw blade will allow me to cut down logs into planks, and that will open up a lot of new things, like chests and trapdoors, and doors overall. Like every crafting process in Vintage Story, smithing is very involved. With the hammer, you have to create the shape of the object you are trying to make, just like with clay molding. But unlike with clay molding, if you mess up here, there is no way to fix it without adding another ingot, or just starting over. So when you start smithing, it's actually a good idea to think about what you are doing. With the shape finished, we can speed up the cooling process by throwing it in water. And with the saw blade cooled down, it's finally time to add the handle. With the saw blade finished, and me excitedly looking at the crafting recipe of a chest, I think that's about it for this episode. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.